Hello, and welcome to today's episode of 3D Drawing for Your Model Railway. In this, the third part of our lessons looking at the Cowan Sheldon 30-ton crane, we're going to be looking to add on some detail to the rear of the crane here. So we've got the two door panels, which I assume the engine's behind. Up at the top here, there's a grille here, and depending on which of the two cranes we're looking at, the style of the grille changes. So obviously you can pick whichever version you prefer to have. They're completely optional. There is this light here is on both of them. Sorry, it's not on this one. The door handles look the same on both. Then down here we've got, I think this must be the fuel tank, and this is the fuel gauge on here. And the filler cap looks like it's here, but neither picture is particularly clear as to what it is there. But it certainly is recessed from the back panel here. Also to note is these panels here, they're not on the plans, and as you go back in towards the build date, they actually weren't there. So I don't know if these are a later addition. And then depending on which crane you're looking at, this one's got one of the panels missing. But I've also got later pictures which I can't show you because I don't have a copyright for those ones. That this panel's actually replaced here, so I don't know whether it was, it's just been knocked off, whether it's been damaged, whether it was taken off for a reason, but for some reason this one hasn't got it on at this date, but has in later and earlier images. So we'll be looking to add on these details here, all these way on the hinges for the doors here, and the vent at the top. Okay, so we're now back in Fusion. I've changed all the canvases just to show this rear version, and that's the one we're obviously going to be working on. One thing you do need to make sure, because we're working on that crane body, is you've changed this radio button to select the crane button down here, because otherwise, if you go continue to do it all in here, you'll lose the sketch history and it will end up in here rather than in the assembly that we're working on down here. Okay, so looking at where we're at here, what I think we're going to start with doing is adding in the fuel tank here in the middle here. Whoa, stop. So what I think we're going to start working on is the fuel tank down the bottom here. So if we scroll out a little bit, if we remember down on, we haven't got it in here, so we'll create a offset plane that's going to come out the back of here. So we turn the origin on, we should be able to find the origin, and we'll turn this around and we'll create an offset plane which comes out to the back. So that offset plane is now within our sketch here, assembly here. We can then draw on that offset plane. So it's looking like it's a flat rectangular shape, so we'll just drag out a flat rectangle. Let's actually have a look, see how far across that goes. Okay, so it's a little bit over halfway, so it's probably about there. We're going to define the height position. We're going to have to define from the corner point to that corner point 1.57. The height 1.96. Position left and right 3.6, and its width, we'll just round that down to 7 just to make it nice and easy to follow. Okay, so if we look at the photo, it's actually flat and recessed slightly. So all we're going to do is just flatten this panel out in a little bit behind the curved section. So if we right click, extrude that, and we can just drag that extrusion into the panel. If we tell it to, it's already cut in there, working out to cut. And it's only just inside the panel, so something like that, maybe. Let's have a look. We'll turn off the canvas, see how it looks. How does that compare to what we're looking at here? Yeah, that looks, if we're looking at this, that looks reasonably flush at this end, but recessed more towards the other side. So, I'm pretty happy with what that looks like. Okay. So the next thing we're going to want is, we can cancel that one, the gauge on the end here. So we're going to create a sketch on that flat panel we've just created using the center point circle, and it looks like it's pretty centered. We'll just go halfway up there. How does that look compared to the pictures? Yeah, so it's going to have like a slight lip, and then inside that a more pronounced circle. So we'll define that position. We want that to be, we want that to be horizontal vertical to that line there. So that's now centered on the wagon. And we can define distance. Try to again define distance from there to there. So we constrain, so is it that distance? That distance, no, that's constrained already. Radius. Constrained, distance from there to there, maybe? No. Okay, it all seems to be fully constrained. It must be just like something buggy within Fusion. It does that occasionally where it doesn't change the colour. So it's going to extrude that out slightly. I only want it to be a little lip, so I'm going to create 0.1. Then we'll create another drawing on that surface, slightly smaller circle. Again, it's collected the midpoint. Let's go for, where should we go? 1.1 maybe. And then we'll extrude that forwards. Probably a bit far, it's 3 inches in scale. Yeah, that's way too far. So we'll just go down 0.3. Okay, so there's our fuel gauge. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to draw is the 2 door panels now. Now, as we've covered in the previous episode, you can't actually select a curved surface to draw on. So what we're going to have to do is create another offset plane. So make sure we're in the crane body, create an offset plane from the original origin. And if we turn this around, we need that offset plane to be wholly within the inside of the body here. So this one inside the body will be fine to be able to draw on. So we've now got that inside the body. We can create a sketch on there. Doesn't matter that it's up with the planes originally derived up high. It's just because of where the origin point is. So you're absolutely fine. The plane is still down lower. So we'll use a 2-point rectangle. Now the doors are pretty much from the level of the fuel tank and the side of the body up to where the roof starts to curve. So we'll just draw a couple of rectangles. There's a thicker gap down the middle. I don't know if there's some sort of panel there. So we'll leave a little gap in the middle there. Go for that. So we'll define the height from there to, the corner. Define the height from the corner position. To that corner position. So we'll call that 3.8, that's close enough. And position left and right of there, go 0.2. Width of the door, go for 7. And then the height of the door, 7.2. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll use that lines to create an offset plane. So if we select those, we only want them to be ever so slightly bigger. The 0.2 is actually probably going to be too big, so actually maybe come inside with them. Minus 0.2. And that will give us the recessed panel look that they've got. And what we could do then is, you can't select between them because it wants to select the whole face. So if you hold down the left mouse button between the gap, you see the profile comes up. You can then scroll down, select that, and then we can right click, extrude. We're going to want to change the start position to be from the object, and then we can select the face. And now it's trying to draw it on that face. If we then drag it in, you can see, if I drag this in quite far, how the top surface is curved. So what it's actually doing is it's following the face line here. We don't obviously want it to be that deep, we're just going to go for 0.2 millimeters to give us that panel edge that we're looking for. Okay, so we'll do the same on the other side here. So if we go back into the same sketch, edit the sketch, and then we just repeat this on this side here. So go select that top edge, you can then select the bottom edge, draw that like that, define the distance from there to there, 0.2, and the distance along the bottom, 7, up the side, 7.2, and we need to define height. That's all then fully defined. Create the offset line on the inside, 0.2 millimeters, and then we can do the same with this. What we can do is go in here, edit the feature, and then we just have to add in the profile. So if we hold down the button there, that adds in that profile. It might not work actually looking at that, failed to project some files. So we'll give it a go, see what it does. Yeah, it's not worked. Okay, so if we undo that, see how it didn't like it down here, so it turned it yellow. So we'll fix that, we'll just undo that, and then if we come back into the sketch, do the same, select that profile, right click, extrude, change that to object, and then we need to extrude inwards 0.2 millimeters. Okay, so now we've got our two doors. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add on the two door handles. So if we come back to this, if you look at the plan doesn't actually have the door handles on. So what we're going to have to do is just sort of estimate. They look like they're about halfway up, and they're slightly off triangle in shape. So that could be quite an interesting draw, really. Let's go back into Fusion. We're going to create a sketch. We're going to use that offset plane that we've just been using there, because it will need to be curved to match the body, and it needs to be inside the body for that. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll start by drawing two lines. They're about halfway up, so we'll draw, let's go 1 millimeter high. And 0.5 millimeters on each side. Okay, how are we going to do this? So let's just try initially doing a triangle shape, and then we can put curve in the corners like this using the fillet tool. That error was because I've defined the distance, and because I've removed that corner, the distance doesn't compute properly within the software. See the same issue there. Okay, so we've now got corners, so now maybe what we'll look at is adding arcing, doing a tangent arc from those corners. Let's see what happens when we do that. Let's have a look at that a second. Yeah, that's not working. So let's try something else. Let's go 3-point arc, select the two ends, and curve outwards. Yeah, that looks better. So we'll do that, and then we'll create tangency between the. Oh, what's that done? There's a sketch on there, still there. Okay, it doesn't like that for some reason. Let's try again. Create tangency. It's not liking that. Let's try again the other way, see if that makes a difference. Not liking it. So we'll use that same arc, but what we'll do is we'll just define the position from the curve radius to that point. Escape all that trouble. So define that radius. Okay, let's try to find that 0.6. Oop, no. What's that done? That's moved it upwards. I don't want that. Okay, well that could be, I haven't defined the height there to lock that in position. So that now can't move. The height of that's defined. Yes, it is. So we can just change that, maybe 0.7. Nope. It's going to go the other way, so 0.9. Just trying to look to get this a little bit smoother from around here. Let's go to 1. Yeah, so that's giving us curved shape here. So we'll do the same on these two sides. So we'll use 3-point arc on these. Define the radius and using 1 radius. Go with that, and then we'll create the same. So we now select all those profiles. We can then extrude. Again, we're going to go from the object and extrude into it. 0.3 millimeters. Okay, so that's looking good. So what we'll do is we'll go and draw the handle on here, and then we'll copy it over. So you cut again, because this is a curved surface, we won't be able to draw on that edge. Undo that. We don't want that. So we'll go back to this original sketch. We'll edit in there, and we'll draw a rectangle in here. So don't want that snap into anything. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll define the distance height-wise from there, and we'll go 0.8. How's that look? Yeah. Ooh, no. 0.08. Yeah, that's what we'll go for. And what we want is we want that to be in line with this here, I think. So if we use a horizontal and vertical constraint, that'll, we select that corner, that'll select the line there. then we can snap that position there. Do the same on this side. There we go. So the handle goes all the way across there now. Good. What else do we need to define? We need to define the height. 0.2 and the width. That's already defined. Okay. So what's missing to define there? Interesting. We already defined the height. Height up is defined. I see. It's that one that's missing there. 0.8. There you go. Okay, so that's all defined now. So if we extrude, finish that sketch, and then what we can do is select this profile, and then extrude. Again, we're going to go from object, select that back face, and we'll drag that outwards. 0.3. Good. So that looks good there. So what we'll do is we'll go back into the sketch, and we'll copy all this lot over. So we come up the top here, left mouse button down, drag across, right click, copy, right click, paste, put it in there. We just have to drag this across here, like so. Okay, and then we define the distances here. So define that point to that corner. We had that 0.8. Define the height 2.762. The other one's defined as. Good. So that's all selected. So we just select all these profiles. Profile. I've got a feeling we've done a quicker way of doing this now, because if we don't extrude this face, that will be level with the front of the door, which is what this one is anyhow. So do object from there, and we go in 0.3. There we go. So yeah, we found a quicker way there. If we drawn that handle first here and didn't extrude that, then the handle would automatically, like this one's gone in. Okay, so happy with that. We'll turn this sketch off if you want them hidden. Okay, I've just noticed something interesting when looking at the drawings. Prior to, I think, looking at the pictures that I've got, prior to 1993, on this rear end, there's no grill and no light. Also, this window here, post 93, is plated over. So you do have a decision to make now. Do you want a pre-93 or post-93 version? So my layout sort of runs time-wise 88 to 95-ish. So I think I'm going to go without initially, because I quite like the... Actually, no, I'm going to go with, just to add a bit more detail. And what I might do in the future is I might go back and do one pre and one post. Yeah, so I'm going to go and I'm going to add the detail in as if it's a post 93 mod, because this is all the same crane here. Find that post 93 picture. It's got this on, and it seems that both of them are exactly the same. They've both had this mod fitted. The light on the rear of this one, I've got a picture which, again, I can't show you, it's just from 2000, which has had a light fitted. So I don't know at what point they've all had these various different mods added. But yeah, I'm quite liking the look of this. So I'm going to add that grill on to the model that we're doing. Okay, so again, we're going to be drawing this grill on this curved surface. So we have to find the plane that's offset front, which I believe is this one here. Yep. So we're creating a sketch on that plane. I'm just going to put a rectangular surface up here, about this sort of height. I'm not sure about the length of that, might need to change. Okay, let's go with that for the moment. Let's add a midpoint constraint there. Go and snap to the top surface there. Going to define that height first. Then we're going to snap 1.4 millimeters. Then create a midpoint from there to there. Might already be snapped. Let's have a look. We define that distance 4 mil. No, it's not. Okay, so we'll have to define that another way. So we're defining it this way. So we'll go from there to there. So 2.5 millimeters. Get rid of this one. In fact, we just come back down. Double click on it. Double click on it. Do 5. Because we've already got 2.5 here, 2.5 there. We know it's going to be the same length. So that's going to be defined. Yeah, that'll be held on the midpoint there. Just need to have the height of it. And go 1.2 millimeters. Look on the picture. No, maybe a little bit more. So 1.5 millimeters. Okay, and then we extrude this. So you can see how it's going to be quite distant. So offset from that plane. If we do the offset as 4 millimeters, see how it's brought that back in. So what we've done is we've offset the start position from that plane in by 4 millimeters. That gives us a nice distance there. If we change that to join, rather than trying to cut, have a look at the picture, how far it's still too crowded there. So if we go change this to 4.5 millimeters. Maybe a bit more, so change to 4.3. Okay, I'm going to go with that. So to create this shape on here, I'm going to cut triangles into the front surface. Okay, so to do that, I don't want it to start on this face, but the cut needs to be on this one. So I'm going to offset from this face inside, so we keep a solid edge on that side. If we go minus 0.3 millimeters, and we'll draw. So drawing on the same side profile, but offset from this. So we'll create a triangular shape. Okay, so what we'll do is draw a line coming in. And I'm going to snap that line to there. So it's the same position relative to this vertical line here. Define the distance in as 0.2 millimeters, and the distance down 0.2 millimeters, and then actually I'm going to change that to 0.3 millimeters. I'm going to create another line from there, 0.1 millimeter down. I want it to be vertical as well, so it's snapping onto that line. The reason I'm doing that is this triangle's coming upwards. I'm going to extrude this shape inwards, and I want to still have a little bit of wall thickness at the top surface here. Yeah, gonna go with that. Just to close off this triangle so that I can select it. I've got to draw a line down there. That then will enable me to select this profile in here. I'm going to extrude that across. Oh, no, no, no. Changing the angle there. That's all that. I'm going to extrude that across. So we've got 0.3 offset here. So the whole width was 5mm, so 4.4 will give us that 0.3 on the other side. So we've got that vent there. So what we'll then do is we'll pattern this downwards. Select features, body, direction, want it to come down. Okay, so like that. So come down 1.1mm. What's it done that for? Try again. So select features, direction, come down 1.1, increase the quantity, 4, 5. Yeah, I think 5 looks okay. Yep. And then if we look at the grill here, it's got a panel in the middle here. Now the easiest way to do that is just to create a sketch now on this one surface. Okay, we've already got the midpoint set there. I'm not going to snap to it though. I'm going to do it snapping down there like that. So it's going to be 1.5 and then 0.5 at the top. So we know that the distance here is 5. So if we just take 0.25 off of the halfway point, define that there. The halfway point is 2.5, so if we just do 2.25, that's then centered. We can then select all of these profiles here. This one. And then extrude those back inwards. This initially wants to cut, we just change that to join. We've then got the 2 separate grills on each side. Okay, so again, interestingly, looking at the pictures, 96101 has 2 hinges on each side, whereas 100 has 3. I'm going to go with 101 because that's the same pattern of grill we've drawn up the top here. So we're going to draw these 2 hinges on both sides, and then looking at the rest of the detail on the rear here, I think that's pretty much it. All the screws on the panel lines won't show up, so I don't think there's much point doing those. So yeah, I think if we just do these hinges, I think that'll pretty much have us there for the rear panel. So what shall we do? We're going to create a sketch using that offset plane again that we had, which was number 2, I believe. Yeah. So we'll create a sketch on that plane, and we do 2 hinges. So they look like about 6 inches from each end. We just do rectangles. We don't want to snap to the edge, it needs to be inside it. And we'll cover the top like that. How tall did they look? About 6 inches as well. So we'll go for 1mm height, 0.5mm width. And then we'll define that position as 0.15. And then we'll do height, do 1mm again. Yeah, happy with that. Okay, so if we find that profile, and then we can extrude that. Oh, we've gone on the wrong plane here. Not an issue. not an issue. What I can show you, if we come out of there, finish that sketch. Which plane did we need? Oh, was it number 1? Yeah, it was number 1, and we've done it on plane 2. So if we come down to the sketch and then redefine the sketch plane as plane 1, that will move it out to the original plane that we're after. That's better. Okay, so now we can select that. Extrude, again we're going to do offset. Going to come in, let's find the height. So we're going to offset by 5.5 initially, and then the extrusion inwards doesn't need to be that far, and it should be a join. How's that look? Yeah. Okay, so we're happy with that. Obviously, if you want to, you could put like the centre pipe down the middle here, but in Engage it's hardly even going to show up. You won't even notice it. So I'm going to be happy with that. I'm going to copy that feature. I'm going to come select the direction downwards, and we'll drag this down. We only need 2 of them. Okay, see if we can actually also try and do in a sec, see if we can copy this across, pattern it across. Actually might need to come down a little bit more. Okay, so yeah, we'll try and see if we can pattern this across. So if we select those 2, direction, sideways. Yeah, we'll do that. We need 2 of them. It doesn't need to be that far. Let's try bringing this down to 35. Needs to be a little bit more than that. Should be 14.4, yeah. Okay, so yeah, then we've got that on both sides. We'll make sure that it's still only one body. Yeah. So there we go. We've got the details on the back end. If you wanted to add the light in here, again, just do a similar process to this that we've done on the hinges. You'd probably want to curve it, looking at the shape of the profile of the lights. But that's starting to look a lot more detailed on that rear end, and I'm pretty happy with where we've got to. So let's save that file, and we'll call that episode it for today. If you've got any questions about how to do something on here, please leave a comment below. You can catch me on Facebook. Please like and subscribe to the videos to keep abreast of what's going on with this model. Thanks for watching.